Live on this one.
Good, great, good, great, good,
We're good. You good on this one?
great. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to um, night edition of Let the Madness Begin. Today is a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday, which means that it's Hump Day for a lot of people. Which means that it's what is it? Woman Crush Wednesdays. What would Jesus do Wednesdays? Um, Black people do too much challenge Wednesdays. Um, Black History Wednesday. Of course, William Coleman, Marshawn Taylor.
Black History Month. It's still cuffer season, but it's Black History Month for cuffer season.
Sure. So, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Nothing much.
All right, tell me about this topic.
So it's called when checking the boxes go wrong. Checking all the boxes go wrong. And what I mean if I say that is it's kind of where we try to cover down every category possible. And it seems that there's never going to be a time that it's going to suffice to where there's no category. Where everything is covered. If you look at every year, it's always a new category to cover down on.
Okay.
Whether it's minority, based on religion, sex, creed, sexual orientation. I said religion, didn't I?
Right.
And I think a lot of times, there's more of that done nowadays than actual being. I want to say it the right way. It's like you want to make sure you check the boxes so you don't get put out there like you're not part of this. You're not part of. You want to be always want to be politically correct. Politically correct.
Okay.
I mean, let's say that. Let's say that you always want to be politically correct. Politically correct. Excuse me. When you checking these boxes, and I think this is a problem. A lot of issues they have. Where as far as the content you put out, you don't want to offend certain people, or you make sure certain people are feel included. My thing is, there's nothing wrong with not having all your bases covered. There's nothing wrong with, somebody may get left out because it may be by accident, not on purpose.
Right.
But I think a lot of times it boxes you in when you do that, in a sense.
Okay.
Because it seems like a lot of times that we do this, we got to make sure we have at least one black person on our team, our baseball team, or in our class, or we got to make sure we have that one Latino, that's part of, our section and part of a, and I think, and then sometimes it's like whether they're qualified or not, and I think a lot of times we forget that when a job's got to get done, the job's got to get done, and you want it done right.
Okay.
I feel, put it this way. I think it's to the point now we're stressing ourselves out more about who's doing the job and what categories they fulfill, as opposed to actually who's doing the job and are they qualified. In a sense, if I'm saying that too much.
Okay.
I don't want to say like I'm reaching. I want to make sure I'm clear and concise about what I'm talking about when it comes to the subject. Because we don't, a lot of times, we we may want to hire the best, most qualified person, and it may happen to be just black. Is that such a wrong thing? So say if we take our company and we decide to hire somebody. Now, the wise thing to do is to do what? Look at resumes, do an interview. Now, I'm not sure the last time you actually filled out an application, but in recent years, nowadays on any site, they have another section before you turn
right, that has race, color,
creed, breaks down everything, sexuality.
Right.
Are you a citizen, American citizen? Are you a veteran? Are you disabled veteran? You
Right.
protected veteran? You know, that sort of deal. And I think a lot of times it kind of discourages people, not necessarily to say not want to work, but just say to kind of not want to apply or even consider themselves eligible to fulfill the position. Because, you know, if you think about it, if you're gonna pick somebody that's, which it happens, you know, because even in certain government jobs, you know, they got to fulfill certain categories, you know, handicap, minorities, women, whatever, whether they're qualified or not. And now, don't get me wrong, there are certain jobs in this world you can learn. You know, it's possible to learn, but there's a lot of times you want people who are experienced when it's one of them jobs that are, um, what's the word? Not high visible, but say just requires a lot of attention and a lot of experience. I'll say that. So, and that's what I'm getting at. I mean, like I said, it leads to something more, but I don't want to sit here and shoot the whole, you know, blow the load right now. You know, in the first 5 minutes, we're just sitting here trying to figure out what to talk about.
No homo. Pause.
Yeah, no homo. Yeah. I already want to say it. Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know this, and I learned this
Right.
A long time ago. So the reason why they do ask you those questions, and there was a question that used to be asked, are you on government assistance? People are like, why would you ask that question?
Right.
Because those companies get a tax write-off if they hire someone.
Right.
So it's an incentive to hire people of different ethnicities and different,
instead of outright hiring them because they qualify.
Right. Well, this is what white people are mad about.
What are they mad about?
They say that that's why they feel as though we're not qualified for a job. So they feel like we always get a job because of affirmative action.
But go ahead and say what you need to say, man.
So it's a slippery slope.
It is. But we're about to, either way, we're going to counter it.
It's one of those things where if we want the best person, if we use jobs for example, you want the best person for the job.
Right.
Out of 100 applications, if the best person for the job happens to be a Caucasian male, then that's what it is.
Right.
That's what it should be.
Right.
If it happens to be a African-American male, that's what it should be. If it happens to be a white female, black woman, whatever, transgender, whoever's qualified for that position should get it.
But I understand, but my thing, I think they misunderstand how it is. It's not necessarily that it's for them to get the job. It's more or less to get the consideration for the job. If you think about it based on race. Now, if it comes down to it, I think that's where the whole, like you said, the slippery slope comes in with affirmative action. Because more than likely, if we don't have, like you said, some kind of minority, whether it's a woman, somebody, African American, Asian, whatever,
right.
Like you said, handicapped or whatever, more than likely, like you said, yes, that's where that takes place. That's more times. It's not, and then I think people misdirect that argument. It shouldn't be at the group. It should be at your company, because your company more likely should always be looking for the best man, regardless of creed or creed, color, religion. But they always should be considering, because not a lot of times they don't. Because you think about it, a lot of these CEOs and these companies, a lot of them don't look like us,
right?
Now there are some that has minorities in charge. Some of them have, are highly qualified CEOs, COOs, CFOs, whatever position, they do. But a lot of people don't. They're not recognized a lot of times, until, they do something great or do something wrong.
Right.
With the company.
So let me ask you this question.
What?
This is, do you want the government to tell you who to hire?
They're gonna do it regardless. You know why? They don't give me the incentive to hire.
You don't have to take the incentive.
But you know why I'm gonna do it?
Because the incentive.
It's an incentive,
right?
And you know what it does?
So does that make you part of the problem?
It does in a sense. You know why? because I'm saving, because this is my thing. Is the problem with it, and like I said, I kind of understand the purpose, the original purpose of, because I think what it is, affirmative action has been kind of misused in some instances than others. I think, in a sense. Do you think? I think in a way it could have been, but
I would say this. I don't think it's been misused. However, what has been done, and this is our fault on affirmative action, is that they said if I have to hire one, I'm still not going to hire the best qualified because I don't.
that's what I mean.
So
Exactly.
I'm not going to hire the best
Right.
qualified of you because if I'm not going to prove you right, that's stupid.
Right.
So I'm gonna hire someone.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be the best qualified, or I'm gonna hire them in a position that I know they're gonna fail at because I already looked at their
Or
qualifications.
a position where it's going to be a position, visible position, but it's nothing that's really going to affect the flow of the company.
Right.
And
So
that's
that
what I
has
mean by
happened.
misuse. And that's what I mean by misuse.
That-
You know,
I
and
do believe that happens.
yeah,
a
and as
lot.
far as hiring practices, and like I said, you know the reason why I'm going to take this sentence? Why? Because I get a tax break. So what does that mean? That's money. That keeps me more in the what's that, when you're on the positive side.
in the black.
In the black. That keeps me in the black. And tax cut. Tax cut. Save money. Okay. Also what I mean? My bonus. I get a bonus for X amount of dollars a year.
No. I'm not
You know what I mean?
disputing the concept
Oh.
behind it, but
And-
then we can't get mad because that's the human
Right.
error, I guess, or the human quality or the human
Right.
value in that. Also, I think a lot of times we do not really pay attention to is we're going to hire who we're familiar with.
True.
And despite what people think, I can't tell a person that's not black to hire me and expect them to hire me.
Well, the government can.
The government can, but they still spit in the government face and say they're not going to do it.
They'll do it to a certain extent.
You know what they'll do is they'll hire a gay and lesbian.
Okay.
So it still falls into affirmative action because we have allowed certain things to get lumped up with us.
Yeah.
So now, since it's lumped up with you because we never made it a deciding factor, because we never say, look, we understand your plight, but your plight is not our plight, and we need a line, because now that falls into it. So that's why if you look at it, it has all those lists now because we're all included.
Right.
So I don't have to worry about hiring a black person, which it was made because of the fact that you wasn't hiring people that look different. Now, on the flip side of that, this goes back to begging. Why are we continuously begging to be accepted? Why are we continuously begging to be at these companies that don't want us? They don't want you. If they wanted you, they would hire you.
True.
Think about it like this. You didn't go, they look at your college, you go to HBCU, well, we don't think your education was up to par with somebody at Harvard, even though your grades may have been A, and the Harvard student barely made any.
Barely made it through Harvard.
Yeah, barely made it through Harvard.
Barely
They George pushed it.
Right.
So, but that's one factor I could use against you.
Right.
Another factor I could use against you is you don't fit our image. Well, what do you mean I don't fit your image? Well, around here we dress a certain type of way, we act a certain type of way. Your dress don't hit, make our mark with us. Or you want to cut your hair to be at that company? No, you're gonna be defiant because you don't want nobody to tell you what to do. The same way that man don't want nobody to tell him what to do.
True.
So now you got two bulls looking at each other.
Right.
But only one bull has the power. The other one is actually a donkey.
Right.
Because you're the ass.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you still got your hair, but you ain't got no job. How many niggas
You ain't got a job at that company.
No, you ain't got a job, period.
I mean, I'm gonna say you necessarily got a job, period, because there's always, and I understand you got a very good point, but let's not look at that. The door's always gonna be slammed in his face. Now, maybe 7 out of 10 doors maybe, but somebody's eventually gonna give him a chance, an opportunity. Or what he can do is what? Create his own opportunity.
So it goes back to the original thing. Why are we begging for jobs?
Exactly. So what we talked about this before. What does it come back to? The difference between equality and empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
And what you was talking about is why are we asking to be equal
Mm-hmm.
instead of just, hey, matter of fact, why don't we just make ourselves equal?
Right.
Now, why we're begging, I don't know. Should we continue to beg? I feel we should, but it's what it is. Now, are we in a position to not? Maybe about, I ain't gonna say a position that we're not. We're going to beg for something.
Why?
Unfortunately, why not?
The Asian community don't beg.
But
the Jewish community don't beg.
What's the key word you said though?
The Asian community?
No, community.
Okay, so it's our fault,
right?
So once again, we are our own demise.
True.
So we have to I think, and that's part of the problem. We have not accepted our fault in this. If someone tells you the stove is hot, why would you touch it? Someone tells you cops don't mean you no good, why you still commit a crime? To put yourself in that position. If the law is against you, why would you still commit a crime to give them the money to be against you? Why would you justify what they're saying about you? That's where we're at right now. We're literally justifying what they say. Hey, you know what? We're going to make a movie called Birth of a Nation. And we're going to say that African Americans, all they want to do is run around, rape white women, have babies, and want to be violent. It's 2022. What are black men doing? Damn. Think about that. Think about when that movie was made.
Talking about that? You talking about the actual Birth of a Nation?
Not what my man Nate.
I'm talking
about
you might confuse people.
I'm sorry, my fault. Yeah. There was a movie called Birth of a Nation, which was actually a movie that made the Klan look like gods.
Right.
And they came to the rescue. Yes, they came to the rescue because they said that we was rambunctious, killers, raping white women, and everything.
No, that's what we would do.
That's what we would do
if we were included into the race.
2022.
Yeah.
Murder rate.
Well,
babies born out of wedlock.
I mean, there's white women here too. White women in the mix too. Maybe white women too. I mean, stop me cutting out. But I mean, dude, we can argue the point, but we want to include ourselves in some of these boxes. That's something that's not going to be fixed. Can't be fixed. Now, as far as the begging, as you see, we're doing, that's something that takes time, and we've wasted a lot of time. Like you said, as you call it, begging. Where do we start? Where do we start? Or my question now, where we start? Because we started a long time ago, and we got off the path. Where did we lose our way?
When we thought we was equal.
You said thought though.
I'm telling you, and like I said, I had to really go back and listen to Malcolm X, and I know he's not people's favorite. You have to go back and listen to Marcus Garvey and reading some books. And a matter of fact, me and my coworker, we talked about this one book that we're gonna start reading together, man. Conspiracy Against Black Boys, and if we really paid attention to the civil rights movement, it was actually the worst thing that happened to us, more so than helping us. And I know that it hurts people because we think it was great for us. And I get it because it makes you feel like you are actually appreciated in this country. However, what the country did was it turned the actual community, which was actually a vibrant mecca of just financial liberty, like liberated financially at that point. Like we don't realize it. Yes, we had to deal with racism outside of the community, but that's what made the community stronger. Do you realize the black dollar lasted so much longer? Because I couldn't spend it nowhere else.
Right.
But they were spending their money with us.
Right.
And people don't even realize that they were spending their money with us. They were, and for y'all that don't like HBCUs, do you realize that they were still scouting people from these HBCUs because we still couldn't go to their colleges? So where they get their black talent from during those time frames? HBCUs, but y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all still thinking about, puppies and kittens and all that. We literally lost, and it hurts because when you really think about it, they teach you that it was a win for everybody, but it was the only win for them because they were able to pull our finances away from us.
They had a plan.
Yeah.
And
what do we do when we go to any nation? We destabilize the economy.
Right. And
So,
and back to what you're saying. I was gonna say you pretty much said it, but just a better detail. And I think people what I don't understand is the minute, like you said, we declared ourselves equal. Time they had the plan is like, yeah, well, they're gonna be equal when they spend our dollars and when they spend their dollars in our stores in our neighborhoods.
right.
You know, when they move into our cul-de-sacs, whatever, you know, they'll be part of the neighborhood. They will pay the taxes. They will, you know, instead of hey, staying out in the country on family land and developing to, hey, if we need more houses, hey, we got family members that are carpenters. I got friends that are carpenters, and they build a house. You know, they spend the weekends building a house. Yeah, you know, that's what we do. Like you said, when it comes time to when it's time to, you know, we need food. We got the farmers market or the local grocery store. You know, and you know that sort of deal, man. You know, it's the thing that when you said the thing about the village no longer exists. In a sense, the village will pass, but the concept, as far as the physical aspect of it, can exist in a sense.
It can, but here's the other problem we face. We hate each other. We do.
All right, so explain how we hate each other.
Okay, for instance, we're still sitting. First off, you bad as a people when you celebrating milestones that shouldn't even be celebrating milestones. Black girl magic. You living your life and supposed to be doing. Oh, she went to college. But congratulations. Did you do it with a student loan? I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. But see, we're fixated because we caught in this weirdness of we have to celebrate certain things, which means we start hating each other. I'm going to give you this one example. So DJ Envy, the light-skinned brother who father's a cop. That's why he don't go against cop. And he really wasn't in those streets because his father was a cop. Let's keep it real. But he pretends to be. It's whatever.
I got you.
They were talking about black banks. And the question was asked, do you have your money in a black bank? He said no. He said, because they can't give me the interest rate I want. You hate me. Because what you should have said was, I mean, I have all my money in a black bank, but at least I have money in a black bank because I understand how banks work.
Right.
The more people who put money into the bank, the bigger it grows. Wells Fargo didn't become Wells Fargo overnight. People were putting money in Wells Fargo, then they walk all over you, and then they became big. That's how banks work. Now how banks get that big. Why? Because we ain't put money in them.
Yeah.
But yet we'll sit up here and be like, oh, we're for black businesses, right?
True.
How many people really rock black businesses? Give it a month. We're like children when it comes to that. Oh, it's a new toy. It's a new toy. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Okay.
If it's not food or clothes, we don't deal with it.
I got you.
Do we walk around with the black cell phone company? Did y'all know that? Yeah, where's black stuff? It's a man. He got his own. They look just like iPhones. Matter of fact, they are iPhones because they made it in the same factory.
No, it's not only just iPhones. Remember, it's every.
Yeah, it's every Samsung, everything. Yeah, it's on his
Apple,
network.
Same.
I mean, but yeah, we hate each other because why are we not promoting that on our shows? Why our best and brightest have not come together to do anything? Well, Jay-Z's doing a great job at what? And nobody can answer that question. Just like a college that says we're number one in innovation. What does that mean? Innovation. What does that mean? You're number one in innovation. What does that mean?
College that Duke said that?
No, that's Arizona State. Oh. What does that mean? We're number one in innovation. Like, hey, so with Jay-Z, Jay-Z out there, him and Diddy doing something. What are they doing? Well, they damn nigga, you're having a stroke. You can't tell me what they're doing because they ain't doing nothing. But once again, how much money we gave them, we don't want to talk about that. But what I'm saying is that our best and our brightest have failed us because you reached the pinnacle, but I'm not asking you to come back and put a handout because I'll be ignorant. Nobody wants a handout. But what I'm saying is your whole neighborhood.
Stop. There's nothing wrong with asking for a handout.
No.
You know,
I will believe. I don't believe in the handout
go
because
ahead, go ahead, what you're saying.
because we get too many handouts from the
Go
government.
ahead, say what you're saying.
But if you look at all them, their neighborhoods are still bad. So if you can't even work, what God say, you are a king of your own kingdom.
Now, like I said, no, the handout does not have to be anything financial, and that's the thing we keep messing up at.
Okay,
it doesn't have to be a financial handout. Your handout, like you said, show them the way, show them the path.
Okay,
like you said, be a part of the community. That's your handout. That's your time. That's worth more than money because money devalues.
No, I get that.
Money has value for one, and that's how I feel. If I were ever to be, and you know what the crazy thing is, we shouldn't have to wait to be famous in order to do that. We shouldn't have to wait to get certain status. We should be doing that now.
Of course.
So I think we jacking our own selves about. We talking, but we need to be walking. Yeah. So we need to work on that as well. We definitely, and I kind of understand when people say, "Well, you get to a certain status, you shouldn't be coming back." You know, I understand that, but at the same time, you should let your neighborhoods know that they're in your hearts, they're on your mind. At the same time, your presence doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be physical, but your presence should be felt. And what I mean is, like you said, nobody just has to know that you're doing a shoe drive. I mean, it's cool if you put your name on it, your face on it, you know, and that's why I tell you, a lot of times I feel that you shouldn't necessarily have to put your face and your name on it.
Of course not.
Because like I said, if you want people to know that you're doing it for show. You're not doing it out of kindness and genuine, and pretty much you're being genuine is out of the kindness of your heart,
right?
When you're doing it. I feel that we that's what we fall short at. You know, a lot of people feel, oh, well, he don't come back no more because just because that man got $1 million, I mean, he should be walking through the neighborhood all the time. You know, but at the same time, he looks over the neighborhood one way or the other. You know, no, he's not financing all the drugs in the neighborhood. You know, he might be financing the neighborhood basketball team. He might be financing, you know, the local market project, the local garden.
Black people love sports, man.
I mean, but
we'll finance. We'll build a park. We'll build.
Don't get mad because you can't play sports.
No, I'm saying if you think about it, but nobody's investing in computers. But yeah, we say we behind in coding and trading. But you'll buy shoes, you'll buy basketball. Oh, we'll have we got the Rutgers. You're playing every night. But what can that translate to? So in essence,
maybe somebody's misguided what we should be investing in.
That's the biggest lie we tell ourselves. There's no way it is 2022 because if you don't know how to invest your money, either you
you just think you look at investment the wrong way. We're talking about investing in your community, your people.
Now, how you not know if you claim to be other people, you know the trials and tribulations.
A lot of people, you thinking how you're thinking. A lot of people are not. See, we keep speaking as if I want to say this in the right, because a lot of times we speak when our opinion is, like I said, which it is, we speak as if, because a lot of these folks who we speak of, you know, the Jay-Z's and the Fat Joe, regardless of how much they claim, they lose touch. And that's what it is. And the first thing they think of, like you said, the first thing is they finance a sports team, neighborhood sports team, whatever, which is not a bad thing, but it should be more than that. You know, they invest in the more obvious things. They're actually taking their time to find out what needs to be invested in. As far as I know, because for all we know, they may have invested in local markets, the local bodegas in their neighborhoods. We don't know. But I think like I said, we shouldn't always expect something from them as well.
No, I agree with you. I don't expect them to do nothing.
Like I said, because they
don't owe us nothing.
They're not here. And I'm saying they owe us anything, but they're not as in touch as we would be.
Right.
And I think that's more on us than it is on a Jay-Z, a J. Cole, a Michael Jordan, Neil Tyson deGrasse, you know, whoever.
But Mace said something, and I think it went over people's head when he said, how can you be out here preaching pro-black and empowering black people, but you won't give me my masters. You won't even let me buy my masters.
That's something different, though.
No, it's not.
We talk about black people in the neighborhood.
No.
They don't even live in the neighborhood no more.
But what I'm saying
they don't even Harlem no more.
This is what I'm saying. If you're speaking, if you out here talking about you doing it, you're a king of your kingdom.
I understand, though.
So if your kingdom is in chaos, then are you really the king that you say you are?
I understand that. But
so if your neighborhood, and this is what they're not responsible for the people in the neighborhood. However, since we as black people, we like to give the grace period, people can change and reform. Then if you have sold drugs in that neighborhood, you have literally killed people in that neighborhood through either your own actions or the actions of what you was doing, i.e. as people like to rap about, when you make it to a certain point, do you have an obligation to correct your mistakes? Because some people may have been horrible people in these neighborhoods, and and fortunately they were able to get out, but they may have left a line of destruction, and now those people have to deal with the chaos that they left behind. Now you out free, living your life in the videos with the girls, or you made it in the NBA, so you're in the hot tub with the girls. You made it, but you left the line of destruction. You know you did. You know you done effed up some people's lives.
Right.
But instead of you saying, I'm going to be committed to correcting that mistake, you turn your back. Or you give them a Band-Aid, I'll give you some shoes. You owe those people. You owe that woman whose child life you took. Jay-Z owe people. People owe people. People have died so they can be on that hill and preach that they're all about black people. Well, if you about the black people, be about your neighborhood first. I don't even want you to be about over here. I don't care. Be about your neighborhood.
But how?
Buy back your neighborhood.
I understand that, but like I keep saying, we keep expecting to show us, and like I said, how do we not know, and how do we know?
So,
and that's the thing. This is the thing I keep pointing to you, because the thing I want you to understand, you were right by what you say, but a lot of times, because if I were in a position, I wouldn't want anybody to know what I'd be doing as far as
no, that's okay.
And I think that's what it may be. It could be the case. I think that could be his case.
That it could be
everything that he puts out front is maybe something. Hey, this is what I got going on, so people don't worry about too much what I got going on behind the scenes.
I love what you said, but you know what? The fruit of your labor will always show.
It eventually will, but
no, they know eventually it will show.
What fruit takes time to do what though?
But
fruit takes time to do what though? You still got to plant the seed. Instead of got to still whether what it is, whether it's a vine or a tree, it still has.
How much time do we need?
Whatever time it takes.
That's
everything should you keep speaking everything that happened overnight.
No, I'm not speaking everything that happened overnight.
He's speaking for it be an immediate return, immediate effect. And I understand what you're getting at, but there's no, it's not logical.
It is, and I think
it's not logical.
It is, because if that statement is true, then it's not logical for us to go on the bad path quickly. So both of them could be true.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. So, okay, so the young man that you were a big brother to at some point in time,
right?
You spent time with them. However, now, do you expect to see some kind of result, whatever you see, immediately right away, as far as a change in his income, his disposition? You know what I'm saying?
Not all that, but it should be a change. So it should be a noticeable change, because and here's the two reasons why.
Go ahead.
Because I'll say not even two reasons. Here's the main reason why. Because if you really are in this to change, you will actually put forth the effort to change. So that means you will make sure to show change. So the problem that we have is that people don't want to change. So now this is another topic, to be honest with you, that is that black people are wasting black people time, but we don't want to go there.
No, I'm not saying wasting time. But back to what I'm asking you. Why are you expecting these people to show you? And it's not like I said.
Which part? Show me what?
To show you, period, like what they're doing for the neighborhood.
Okay, I like that example. So
like I said, because we could be in Missouri all day. We could be in Missouri all day. Show me state. But if we continue to expect somebody to show us, we could be standing there expecting and waiting to show us.
You are actually
they don't have
right.
to show us not a damn thing. And they could be doing something the whole time.
So why the hell you show me the money you making that you're throwing on the strippers? Why the hell you show me the money that you...
That's not Jay-Z though.
That was Jay-Z. So let's quit these games.
What strippers he
So Jay, the streets is watching.
That's a video.
That was a movie.
Get out of here, man. That's a movie. That's
so. Oh, I get it. So what we would like to do is we like to pretend that these people are lying.
There's not the pretending about the man. That's a work. That's a right. See now you're muddying the waters.
No, I'm not. You asked me. You show me in your video.
I'm talking about. See now you talk about a video. That's a visual. My son, you could do a video of you and you throwing around.
But why would you want to do that?
I don't know.
And not show me what you're doing in the community. So you're saying I don't have to show you what I'm doing.
You don't have to.
But you want to show me the bullshit.
That's what they choose to do. But don't mean they have to. That's what I'm saying. It's their choice, my son. You keep saying, like I said, you hear arguing what's with me over.
What I'm saying is if you really think about it, then you don't want to. Because you'd rather show me the BS instead of showing me, hey, you know what?
See, and again, that goes back to what I'm telling you. No, stop. We doing the wrong thing. Why we go? Because same thing. We need to be showing them what our effect on the neighborhood, our effect on the community as well. That's not just on them. That's on us as well.
No, I understand that part.
But you saying that because the stature and all that shit. No, they don't have to do shit.
No, they don't. And but what I'm saying, you're right. And honestly, they all die for all I care because they're not doing nothing.
But that's what you think. That's what I'm saying. You keep, like I said, you keep speaking your opinion like it's the truth, and it doesn't work that way.
Okay,
fair. It doesn't work that way.
You're right.
And you have, like I said, you have your thing is valid because you're saying it, and they're not saying that you're wrong. But like I said, keep in mind.
So let's strike that off the table. We'll strike that off the table. Let's put this on the table. If you say the fruits of your labor will show,
right?
All the rappers from Chicago should have Chicago straight.
Say who?
All the rappers from Chicago should have Chicago straight.
Now you talk about why you refer back to rappers.
Well, okay.
Why? Like I said,
all entertainers or all black people should.
Why should be entertainers? Why should be just? And I say, why is it just entertainers?
Because these are the ones that actually show the negativity that goes on in our neighborhood.
Because Marshawn, somebody come to you and ask you. Okay, Marshawn, so what are you doing in Wilmington?
I'm not in Wilmington. Now, if you ask me here in Charleston, then it's different.
No, stop. What are you doing in Aiken? What have you done in Aiken? What have you done in Wilmington?
I can answer that. Now, if it's past tense, I can answer past tense.
My question is, what are your fruits of things you've done in
there's a memorial in Wilmington that I helped erect.
You actually physically erected?
Yeah, I was part of the African American committee.
African American committee.
Yeah.
So how do you know Michael Jordan went behind that?
He wasn't.
How do you know?
Because I know the list of the people who was behind it, and Michael Jordan, none of his foundation.
Like I said, he may not be he may not want his name on the list.
Okay,
and that's the thing we can understand that.
No, what you're trying to do, and this is what I don't like, is you're trying to smoke screen. It's like we allowed this part to go and raise up like all the negativity. But now when it comes to the goodness, you don't want that. Oh, we don't have to show the goodness, but you want to show the negativity. I'm like, well, wouldn't it make more sense to show the goodness, to show what you're doing, to show that you're actually involved? Because make more sense, because that helps to show people that, hey, you know, there are people who really want to do this.
But then there's people like Marshawn that sit there and throw, oh, that's a smoke screen, because they just want you to say exactly. No, it's not different, brother. It's not different. It's not different. Because think about it. The minute you find out, what if you find out Michael Jordan's name was on there? You'd probably find something awkward, something.
No,
you probably would.
No,
you possibly no, or say Jay-Z in it.
No,
you know you say that now.
No, I'm serious. I'm not. It's just. My thing is just Don't sit up
You
here.
probably say, yeah, he funded with his drug money from when he was back in the day. You probably would say something like that.
No, I
You
mean,
know,
if he did,
you know,
he did.
or Michael Jordan, or yeah, he funded with his shoes that kids killed each other, got shot up for.
I
You
mean,
would say, see, come on.
I wouldn't say that.
Don't do that. Don't
No.
do that.
Have I ever said
don't
that
do it.
though? Have I
You
ever?
probably would.
No, have
probably
I ever
in-
said that?
My shot of 10
Have
years
I
ago,
ever
my
said
shot,
that?
you probably would.
No, I
Have
have not
you?
said
I don't know.
No, I have never said that.
I don't know.
Because that would be me. I would never put that blame on Jordan that people kill people
with your shoes. You would.
No, I wouldn't.
I think you might have made the comments a few times.
Just like
Right.
just like with Jay-Z, my thing and what I'm saying is that if you say you don't have to show nobody what you do, I'm not disputing that. That part's not being disputed.
Right.
You don't have to show nobody what to do. However,
You went, okay, so why are you doing this video with girls being champagne poured on them and all that? That's what they chose to do. That's what the director decided. Hey, that's individual. Let's do that.
But
That's
yeah,
what
you felt it's more important to show the negativity, the negative side
what's
of
negative? What's negative about pouring champagne on women? You did it last week. Stop playing.
I ain't do it.
You did it last week. What are you talking about?
I
He's
ain't
up in
do it.
club. He was pouring all kinds of champagne.
Because those images
we
are
stop
lasting images,
I understand.
and they do damage. And you said something when and this is what I want people to
Go
understand.
ahead, man.
Yes, it is more important for other people who are in the community to work the community outside of the ones who made it big.
Right.
However, what we have to understand, and this is what we have to be real, as African Americans, we're more prone to go to the shiny thing than the actual thing that works. So the shiny thing is the people who made it out those communities. That's the shiny. Those are the ones that you actually follow more than the people who in your community. And if I was not telling the truth, then the gang violence wouldn't be so big in a lot of these communities. Violence wouldn't be so big in these communities.
It's not that simple. Let's stop saying like you get all the answers.
I don't have all the answers.
It's not like you know all that. It's not that simple.
It's not.
According to your opinion, that's what you think it is.
Okay,
There's
sure.
a lot more to
So okay, then
there's a lot more to do to that than what.
Then what else is it?
No, what was the first thing you said?
If these imagery,
okay, so what's the shining thing?
Shiny thing is they'll look more for Jay-Z, the baby. They'll look more to people who they idolize because they made it out. So they'll idolize other people. We in the neighborhood working.
I got you saying that. Now you got a good point. Yeah, they glorify certain things, but also keep in mind, we the community are not being like they're not in the community in a sense to where we count them, we don't make them accountable. No, we the community got to make sure that the things that are important are the things that are being taught.
So we got to be stepped at.
You going to regardless. That's what the village was always about. Regardless if you had a daddy or not, you had somebody in your vicinity to look after you.
Saying is
to look out for your well-being. As at that
other people have to pick up the mess that people get.
We've done it as a community for years.
Then that's the problem.
It's not a problem. This is how we function. Remember, that's why we're doing it. That's how we worked through slavery, the civil rights. Remember when we thought we was equal and things went awry?
So technically, we are not holding each other accountable.
You gonna hold. We could do as much as we like. Either way, we got to step up or step off. Now, you have a very, very good point what you're saying, but everything is just not that a simple wash. I think that's the thing we always keep getting wrong. We always expect the answer to be the immediate result. Like you said, oh, well, why this, why that? Things do take time and takes the right people in place. They maybe don't have these right people in place. You can analyze all you would like. My question is to you is, what are we doing different?
Nothing. But I said that.
You don't think we're doing anything different?
What are we doing different? The violence in our communities are at an all-time high. Like, let's really think about that. At one point in time in American history, we had to worry. You say okay, but think
So violence is. So they say violence is at an all-time
it's
high.
high. You think about it. We are literally seeing people getting killed.
Now, are they saying this on TV, or this is according to what you see?
This is according to the research.
What research? What research?
If you research New Orleans, you research Chicago, even Charlotte, poor
Okay.
Charlotte, Columbia, even here they did a
crime always been pretty steady here in Charleston. I can tell you that. I've been in.
But the murder rate is going up.
It's actually probably lower than it's ever been. It's probably going back to what it used to be. It used to be pretty high. But you have a good point about the whole. Okay, so why do you think the murder rate is going up?
That's a loaded question.
Exactly.
But it's easy to answer. The question is are we willing to have that conversation? But more importantly, are we willing to fix it? See, we know what the problem is because we're intelligent people. And I think that's the other thing I don't like is as Black people, we try to play dumb. No, we're very intelligent. You know how I know we're intelligent? Because we keep creating languages. The civilization is created based off languages and other factors. We have created languages and other factors in this society to make sure that we can have on. So we're very intelligent. So we understand our problem. We're not walking around here dumb or stupid. However, I think we're scared to face that problem because to face that problem is to actually admit that we are part of the problem. See, it's easy to blame racism because racism is a part. It is. There is systematic racism. There's all these things put in place. Slavery is part of it. It's parts. There's another part that is us that we are scared to talk about. There's a part that is really here to say the single Black mother raising children on her own is a failed experiment. The projects is a failed experiment. The men out of the community is a failed experiment. These we lost. It's done deal. It's a failed experiment. The fact that we are now teaching young men how to not be responsible in family settings is what's killing us. We have literally just it blows my mind that the simplest things that we used to have as a village, we are running away from. Who wants to get married? Nobody, but they want to have 5 kids with different women. Who's going to take care of those kids? Like you said, somebody will always step up because that's the village. That's the problem. Because everybody else has to step up to take care of somebody else's responsibility. Why we let that person go?
You got a good point. Home. See, that's wrong answer. That's always the wrong answer. A person, like I said, that village should go. That's a horrible answer. Like you said, we're getting away from these things because why? We got away from them things,
right? So
and I mean we as in Mashard, William,
I've always said
around that group. Well,
it's easy.
You go ahead.
No. I'm about to say it's easy to talk from, of course, the adventures that I have now because of what I've been through. However, like I said, if I don't talk from this vantage point, then I'm contributing to the problem continuously. So even though I'm at the vantage point of saying I could see where I fell short at in my growth as a man, I can still sit back and say, okay, now it's time to start teaching these men to not go down this path because it is a dangerous path to go down. Understandable.
I got you. But let's not speak from judgment. Like you said, speak from your vantage point. Be a teaching point.
Well, it's nothing to judge. It's nothing judging, but it's one of those things that I think we're scared to hold each other accountable.
But the first thing you said is put somebody out of village is making them accountable instead of making them stand for.
No, what I said was they're allowed to leave and not be held accountable. So they get to go out there. Future get to go make more baby mamas. Nobody's holding him accountable to his first. Nobody's holding Bow Wow accountable to his first. Nobody's holding Michael. I think he needs help. Please, honest to God, I think he needs. Honest to God, I do. I really. That's something right. But nobody's holding these men accountable. But they're creating single mothers. Who are we mad at? That's raising these kids. Think about this. And this is a God honest truth. If a child shoots up a school, right, or shoots up his friends,
I got you.
Shoots up anybody, sells drugs, right, what is he doing it for? His mother.
I wouldn't say he's doing it for his mother.
I'll guarantee you. I'm gonna tell you why.
That goes back to you said it's a scapegoating.
Okay, that may be a scapegoating, but the first thing they say is when they sell drugs, what are they selling drugs for? Their mother. They want to be the man of the house. If we got to attack this issue, these are part of the issues. Or men are part of the issue too, because not every man stood in the ground to be there. You don't have to be with the woman to be there for the child. But that some people put two and two together, just like women put two and two together, like we're a package deal, we're a package deal. That don't always have to be the case. But however, what we need to start doing, and this is one thing I learned in my life, is you have to be more selective. You know what you want, what you don't want. More importantly, we got to stop running around here like our actions don't have consequences. I think that's one thing. We're not holding each other accountable. As a man, you should be able to come to me and be like, I don't like the way you're moving. I maybe get pissed off. I may not talk to you for a while, but at least you did your part by saying, I have to tell you, I'm not liking the way you move.
Right.
The problem is we don't tell other men that, vice versa. Women don't tell other women that. So now you just have people not being held accountable. That's a big issue in our community. Just be held accountable. If you hold somebody accountable, do you know the scary part about it is the reason why we want to go away from the tradition, because tradition makes you accountable. That's one thing people don't realize. Tradition made you accountable. Having roles and responsibility makes you accountable. Knowing who you are and what you stand for, knowing your purpose, and it holds you accountable. If I strip that away from you, your accountability. But guess what? That's not going to every other race. That's only the black race. We're the only ones. That's why if you look at it, the other race is talking about not getting married. The other race is talking about out here just having babies like that. The other race glorifies that. It's just us.
Okay. So I'm gonna say one thing: we can't hold Nick Cannon accountable because he's not a part of our village. Let's get that clear.
No, I'm just saying.
Wonderful examples.
I feel
wonderful examples, but like you said, as far as where we got in our circle ball means, you know, I think the guys we pretty much is on the level we're willing to do that. And I think the issue, I think the overall is we're too I think we're too willing to be like, I think we just need to change our change. I think we need to change who we declare our role models.
Okay, that's fair.
And I think that's a lot of the issues where you, like you said, that comes in, like you said, the Nick Cannons, the Sean Kims, the whoever out there. Well, I'm, you know, hey, I'm an athlete. Hey, I have the right to have the freedom to roam free and, you know, lick, stick, whoever.
Because when you don't have a male figure in your home, and I say that because,
or stop. Let's say that. Let's say respectable.
Okay, a respectable male figure in your home. You have nothing to gauge off of. A woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. So some that someone said, which was very interesting, and I'll just say this. They said women get mad at what they call F boys because they feel like, you know, they ain't doing nothing but doing all these F up things to women, right?
Right.
But when they look at who these F boys are being raised by, it's the woman. Right. So the woman's teaching the man to go out here and treat the woman a certain way. Absence of a man.
Got it.
So even if we really sit back and we say we eliminate everything else, the main issue is the absence of a man. Men are the stabilizations of society.
And you know what? Hold on. And let's not say, let's back up. Let's not say the men, females too.
Right.
It works both ways. Because you think about it. If you think about it, think about if your daughter wasn't in your daughter's life, and then on the backside, I'm sure I'm saying this right, you weren't in your daughter's life, and the guy she deals with, God forbid, same thing he does. That's a disaster in itself. That's a disaster waiting to happen at any turn as well. So I mean, you think about it. If we're not picking, it's not only us who we pick. It's also their selection process.
Right, well. Right. But a lot of times, I'll say like this: a percentage. We don't know what percentage, but you always mirror what you see. You always mirror what is allowed around you, and a lot of times we don't understand that our interactions.
I can understand that, but and he said what's around us, but that's what I have a problem with too when you say that. Like we had a talk I showed a little while ago. You can't always blame what you didn't have around as the reason why you're not good at certain things, you know.
No, I agree with that.
And yeah, but and like I said, but it can't always be your go-to. Your
No, I'm not
you
saying.
know.
I'm not saying. For instance, you didn't have a father in the home.
Right.
Okay, so male or female, you screwed over first 2-3 people before you turn 18. After that, you kind of know right from wrong. So you can't be 30 still talking about
I
because
would-
you didn't have a father in the home. This is why you do the things you do.
Right.
You
I
can't to
agree.
be 40 talking
Right.
about that because at some point you had people around you who you could learn from. That goes back to holding people accountable. Sometimes we are scared to hold somebody accountable because maybe it's because we want to be liked. I think honestly, and I still feel this way. I think if we hate each other, because if you love someone, what do you do when you love them? You chastise them. To show somebody love is to actually show them what's right from wrong. That's the ultimate love because you are literally saying, I love you enough to have you mad at me. But it means that you will not go down this path.
Mm.
And if we have love for each other, we would do that. We would literally sit up here and say, and I know I've been jumping on all these rappers and entertainers. By the way, I own half their music and half their shoes. So
You just hate her. That's all.
I'm a hater that wear their outfits. But I'll say this. It's not just on them, it's on everybody. If I go out here and someone sees me with multiple women, they're gonna think that's okay. If I go out here and they see me 1 minute in the pulpit preaching, but in the next minute I'm smoking weed, they're gonna think that's okay. If they see me doing things that they whatever I do, it allows them to think it's okay. Because if they see me do it, then it must be okay. And that's how we have to look at it. Unfortunately, you said we're behind, and it made me think about this with my daughter and with African American History Month. When in any point in time in history did athletes and entertainers become history for us?
Back in the 60s.
Why?
They broke ground, first.
That's not history.
Player, the first basketball player.
They have overshadowed inventors. You would literally walk into school and see more pictures of Michael Jordan than you would see of George Washington Carver.
And I think,
that's wrong.
I understand that.
But that's part of our problem because we have allowed certain things to become the imagery.
But like I said, because my thing is we need to stop. We should be learning all the time. And one of the things we always be learning is our history. Not just because we walk into a schoolhouse from 8 a.m. to 2 or 3 p.m. Everything. No, we should always be learning. When school is out, we always should be learning. We always should be taking in something about your culture, your history, your past. And I think where we fall short is, like you said, you keep talking about going in a schoolhouse to see pictures of Michael Jordan. I mean, at one point, all these used to be pictures of. You think at one point was who? Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks.
But what I'm saying
Thurgood Marshall.
We have allowed entertainers to become part of that history,
and that's the thing. That falls on us. That falls on us. But we're not doing. So not all of us are not doing our part. Because there's some folk, there are some parents.
There are some people I give them credit in the world.
Let's make sure we're saying this correctly. I think we're still in that mentality. The only time we should be learning is within the 4 walls from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Them 6 little hours. We hold ourselves back, like you said. There's more to us than Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, Michael Jordan, Jesse Owens, Jackie Robinson. So it's kind of like we're kind of programmed that only time, we should be learning is in between them 4 walls during certain hours, this time of the year. Like you said, we should be doing this year round. The question is, how many of us are going to certain certain sites besides the African American History Museum? You know, why aren't we going to these other places like the Penn Center on St. Helena Island in South Carolina? You know, why aren't we going to, even though you despise it, I don't know if you despise it or not, the Civil Rights Museum in Birmingham, Alabama?
No, I've been
You
there.
know,
I've been there.
what's wrong with you now? You angry?
I've been there. You know, saw the church. That was
Eat
emotional.
less pork, man. What's wrong with you now? Eat less pork.
Emotional.
Yeah, there's other places, and I think people don't realize that this history all the time. Like I said, history shouldn't be like you said, rappers and just athletes. You know, like you said, inventors, scientists, a president, a president. You know,
Which is the biggest embarrassment on God's green earth,
but in a sense, I think he knew what it was when he got the
No.
position.
I'm not talking about him as
Right.
in general. But I'm just saying
So-
for us as a community. That
Like
was
I
a
said,
embarrassment.
I think we are checking all the wrong boxes in a sense when we get back to the beginning. Like you said, because we need to be doing more. You know, we do very little to say that we're doing it. I agree. You know, it's not, and Marshawn Williams should be doing more. We should be worrying about if, Jay-Z or Nick Cannon is contributing to what we got going on.
You're right. Now I'm gonna play devil's advocate
Play
because
devil's advocate.
I love. Hey,
Go ahead, man.
why should we have to do more if we are doing what we're supposed to do for our families, which is actually what we're put on this earth to do?
Now, what do you mean by doing more?
No. When you say
When with my sense in doing more,
right? Because what?
So okay, so let's back up. Like I told you, we are more in touch, regardless of who they may know is still in the neighborhood. Just in the conceptual sense, we're actually on ground zero, and not exactly you or me, personally, but people that in our
right.
We should be doing more.
Why?
And then why?
Yeah. Why is it not good enough for me to be the head of my family?
Okay.
To raise my child.
So I got a question.
Or children.
So
and
who else?
Give a good image of what a family.
So who all sees that image?
And people I come in contact with.
When do you come in contact with these people? How do you come in contact with people?
Either by over the phone or in person.
So that's over the phone, sir.
But that's still
you going to video chat with them to see you and your family eating dinner?
Yeah, but that still doesn't.
My question you is
why do I have
so?
Because I think this is
I'm answering your
because
question.
I think this is the
yoke. Your question.
I think this is the yoke that Black people have.
So you listen to what I'm saying. So why can't you invite another family over to see?
Why should I have to?
How they like I'm saying, you said
right. I said in public.
They're gonna know that you the head of the house. So how they gonna, like I said,
because it's in my interactions in public. But like you said, not everybody needs to. But not everybody needs to see what I do behind closed doors. Like you said, when it comes to.
But you're not Jay-Z though. You might Sean Taylor.
It's still the same thing.
You might Sean Taylor.
I'm just Jay-Z in my house.
You're in the
Monica's
community,
my
sir.
Beyonce. And Nani is on Blue Ivy.
Good luck with that one. And think about what I'm saying.
No, I know what you're saying, but I think that's the biggest problem when Black people make it.
Now, keep in mind, we look at examples of the Cosby Show.
Right. All he did was go to work,
but
take care of his family.
Who came by the house though?
Their friends.
And they saw what?
Them. So
but you said nobody had to see it.
Nobody has to see
it. But they saw it though.
They did see it, but I don't have to.
And that's the thing. We're not talking about Jay-Z and Michael Jordan. We're talking about who's in the community. Because a lot of times, if we don't see the examples or we don't see how a home functions, how are we going to know if we actually? Because
that's not my problem.
How's it not your problem?
Because I didn't raise it. I didn't birth it, but I didn't birth those kids. I didn't birth those kids.
Now you done took yourself out the village.
No, I ain't take myself out the village. What I'm saying,
America.
This is what I'm saying.
See, dancing around. Look,
I'm about to die right here. I told you I'm gonna play devil's advocate.
Come on, devil's advocate.
I feel as though it's Black people if a black person make it or resemble some type of success, they have to carry the burden of trying to be there for other black people, and I think that's wrong. And I think that that's another issue that black
I
people.
understand.
You put. Do you
talk
realize
about
there?
success though? We talking about.
No, we're talking about.
We talking about Marshawn in the neighborhood
No,
having Sunday dinner.
But
And,
that's still
you
a
know,
lot of pressure that I have to, man,
It's
I got to
not-
carry the burden.
it's
Not
not-
only do I have to carry the
but-
burden of being a representation at work, because if I do something wrong, Lord forbid,
But let's
I have
keep
to
in
carry
mind.
that burden of I got to be the respectable person in my community. Oh, show them the good image of a black man and this, that, and the third.
Don't show, just be the image of a black man.
But that's the thing. I have to do all this, and then you want me to go mentor. You want me to go out here and
So-
get involved in
so
the
my
community.
thing-
But it's
my
like,
thing,
at what
Marshawn-
point do you make the other people who it's their responsibility do their responsibility?
You're not taking responsibility over somebody else's kids.
You are taking.
No,
you
you're not.
become.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not raising nobody. You're not bringing them to somebody's house to raise somebody else's kids.
But you take
But it's-
responsibility of actually involving them into seeing their image. That is the responsibility.
That's what I'm saying. You over doing it. Because you think about it.
If you
When Theo had his kid, when Theo brought his friends over,
who all have families,
who all had families,
who all have mother and father,
at the same time, had mothers and fathers. At the same time, they're, hey, in real life, it probably be like, that probably wouldn't really be in this day and time. It'd probably be maybe one or two might have their mother and fathers. But at the same time, they saw. So now you like I said, you keep, oh, what else? No, dog. Let's stick with the facts. Marshawn is citizen, outstanding black man,
owes
husband.
nobody nothing.
Nobody say you owe anybody anything. Because nowadays, you think about it, everybody in your neighborhood, they get in their car, go to work, and come back. For all I know, for all they know, Marshawn, you might be the drug dealer.
True.
You might be fighting dogs.
I think everybody across the street does.
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry to put his business out, but he fights dogs. He sells drugs. So
My neighbor across the street does.
So, but I mean, but that's just what they assume.
Right.
Now, so what if one day one of the little neighbor's kids come over, play with Nani, and hang out, whatever, and say, now mind you, they just come and hang out.
Mhm.
You take them out the ice cream, whatever, say, hey, yeah, they get to know you. They go back home, say, hey, hey, Mr. Taylor's a real good guy, hey, he's swell. He does this, he does that. Hey, oh, really? Mind you, you weren't trying to raise no kid. You weren't trying to be disciplined on kid. You just decided to be nice to the kid, take them ice cream, had a good time. You made sure they had everything. You decided to cook on the grill, burn the food, something along those lines. We had a joke and laugh, whatever. Now, what you did is you gave them an impression of how a black father carries himself. That's what I'm saying. No, you're not saying, hey, you come in, you trying to raise the kid and you trying to show, hey, this is how a black man's supposed to carry himself. That wasn't, no. These are things, like I said, when villages were villages, that's basically how they carry themselves. It's not a matter of, oh, well, yeah, he didn't have a father, so yeah, I want him to come to my house and sit at my table and see how a household raised. You naturally took each other in. You naturally look after one another, regardless of who was in his life, who wasn't in his life. The village looked out for each other, regardless of what shortcomings each other had. You covered down on one another. It's changed now. It's a totally different concept now. In a sense, we still can do that, but no, we're not still living in the same cul-de-sacs or whatever. We can still do that, But no, I ain't expecting a Jay-Z to be in my cul-de-sac. No, I expect my Marshawn Taylor to be in my cul-de-sac. I hope you're not expecting Nick Cannon to be in your cul-de-sac. You hope somebody to be like me in your cul-de-sac. I don't know if somebody like me in your cul-de-sac, but still, we got to be particular when it comes to how we build our villages, as a sense. We just can't allow any and everybody, like you said, because you don't know what you're involved in. But as long as I say as long as that, I just leave it at that. and that's the concept of the village itself. It's there, like you said. Oh, there are times where there weren't fathers, there were uncles. If there weren't uncles, like I said, there was Marshawn Taylor's in the neighborhood. I had I don't think you met Jason Wilkes. I had his dad. My dad went around. He was across the street, Mr. Jake. Wonderful man. You need to meet him one day. Very educated guy, you know. And not necessarily he raised me, but when it came time, I had a question to ask him. I'm pretty sure he'd answer the question. And that's the things I'm talking about. You know, he was busy all the time, but when he had time, he had time. You know, and crazy, he made time for me and his son and me and my brother and my sister. You know, and he made a great impression on me from that. You know, and that's the things I'm talking about. Your village. That's how your village functions. No, I'm not expecting you to tell my son, hey, little come to my house because your daddy, you don't have a daddy in your life. It's like I said, no, that's the extreme. If it is get to that, you right. There are some problems there. But at the same time, that's what everybody should be doing, not just me alone. You know, yeah, there's gonna be some times where you're gonna have to put foot because we don't do that no more. We don't do that no more. You're right. We don't do that. We don't hold each other accountable. But we don't stray away from it. We got to be, somebody's got to be to stand up. We got to start somewhere, you know, and that's what I feel. And that's my opinion. And that's, you know, and I'm gonna stick with it, you know, because regardless of how you know, we view ourselves, we still got to live the life we live. We got to fulfill whatever we've been put on this earth to do. You know, we got to make it easy for not ourselves, but others when we come in contact with other people in this day and time. So, I mean, you know, my son, you know, hey, if you choose to say, hey, my son, this little boy, you know, hey, come play basketball with me, you say, no, little nigga, that ain't your daddy, go away. That's what you choose to do. But hey, I'm going to say, hey, all right, let's see what you got. Let's go from there. You know, that's just me personally. So, I mean, it's on you, my friend. You know, and that's where I'm at with it. You know, you want to turn your back on black people, you want to turn your back on black people, by all means, you do that. But good luck to you. Good luck to you. You still my friend, still love you, whatever, but it's all good. So, you know.
Like I said, I mean, I was gonna play devil's advocate with it. And I do believe,
go ahead.
And I do believe this, and I think that this is a problem in our community, is that we tax the ones that have made some of their lives.
You're right.
We tax them. And that's not fair to them because that's a burden that we shouldn't have to carry.
It's not, and the thing about we shouldn't look at it as a burden. Because my thing is, they shouldn't take on anything they can't handle, for one.
But they're not taking. It's not, and I think,
and that's how you're making it sound like it's a burden, like they're taking on something.
It's not that they're taking on it; it's being thrust upon people. And
I think, a lot of things are being thrust upon us at times.
But that don't make it right.
Marshawn, wasn't it thrusted upon you to go to college?
No, it was a choice.
Okay.
College was a choice. Like either you had the money to go or you didn't have the money to go.
I mean, your mom kind of like, hey.
She suggested that if you go down this path, you will have more money.
Let's call your mom.
You can. I mean, she was real with me. She's like, XYZ. I mean, you make more money with a college degree, which it was true at one point.
No, it wasn't forced upon you, but the concept of what college can do was thrust upon you.
Right. Hard, but that's guiding. What I'm saying is that in our community, things are being thrust upon people who have seen that have made it.
Well, you're a pillar either way. See, and that's the thing. If they're not in the community, and that's what I'm saying, and that's the thing we keep. Like my thing is, if they're not physically in the community, and I mean physically as a presence, like not standing, but physically in a sense to where that's a lot to ask of somebody. Now, and I see what you're getting at, but you only do what you can, and that's what I would only expect from somebody, and that's all we can do. Now, if you feel this big pressure like the world's gonna crumble, like everything's on your shoulders. Hey man, you might need to have a little talk with yourself and prioritize what's important.
I
First
agree.
of all, now you make it out, but don't forget you're coming from. But always make sure you have some way of contributing without having to put yourself out there like that. Like you said, you feel thrusted upon to do such a thing. Coming far, like you said, your contribution you may put together a plan to set up a community center for computer, computers to be set up and have computer classes, you know, um, some kind of.
The only reason why I brought that up is because people like to say in the Black community we're behind the technological curve.
No,
we're behind in these areas.
No,
that's
no,
what. That's what's thrown out there. So I say,
but see,
then why aren't people putting those in the community? I mean, they got a whole commercial.
How are we behind? And that's the thing. When you
talks about that.
They say that because that's the thing. When they say that we're behind, no, technologically we're not, because we're now, as far as using device consumer goods, no, we're not behind in that. Now, as far as being part of developing and creating, that stuff, they might be a possibility. But like I said, we're not guiding them properly on what's important. Like you said, like you brought it many times, or like I've said, we rather our kids focus on having a jump shot, which they never have, or working on throwing a football, which they're not coordinating doing, as opposed to, hey, figure out, hey, put them onto microchips, how they're made, where they're made, what they consisted of, and how you go about making microchips, who develops them, how they program, stuff like that. Being scientists, okay, let's create water. How can I create water? What makes water up? Let's create some water.
I'm with you 100%.
And I think that's like I told you, it's time ago. It's been thrust upon us what we see. That's been thrust upon us to see if, these are the things that are important to us. That's going to be important to you. It's important to you that, hey, you're in the service, you're fine, which not a bad trades, not bad jobs, plumber, whatever. Those are important jobs, But I'm sorry, we're not being shown that these things are just as important, just as successful. Successful as in, okay, you got a steady living, you got a roof over your head, you got food on your table, clothes on your back, the lights are on, the water's running, that sort of deal. So, and I think that's where, they said, no, you're not successful if you're not wearing these expensive, overpriced outfits, an overpriced bag, expensive shoes that you probably, hey, once you damage them, it's gonna cost $1,000 to fix, thousands of dollars to fix. So you might as well get another pair for the same price. I mean, that sort of deal.
Okay. So let's go ahead and roll into affirmative action.
All right, affirmative action
in the NFL and the Rooney Rule.
Right.
Well, I guess you have some thoughts on this. I have my own thoughts, but you have some thoughts on this.
And the crazy thing about it, because I remember the first Black coach I ever watched in the NFL, it's Art Shell, and he was hired by the great Al Davis. This is before, I wouldn't say the Rooney Rule was actually pressed upon to be used or expressed or whatever, but to me, the Rooney Rule goes back to what we started, like you're saying, you checking all the boxes going wrong, in a sense to where saying, okay, well, Marshall, I need you to interview a group of 10 people, and in a group of 10 people, in the 10 people, they have to be minority, they have to be female, sexual orientation could vary, disability, possibility, and only serve religions. would say Judeo-based religions. Now, my son, would you interview one of each one of those persons? Or would you find somebody that covers 2 or 3? Try to interview as many people that covers as many of those categories. How would you go about? Now, that's just the interview process. Now, when you hire, because mind you, we only got 3 positions, my Sean. 3 positions, maybe 4. You'll say 4. One of them is going to be a temporary, probably eventually a permanent.
Hopefully,
position.
I will hire the 3 people who are qualified, no matter what.
No matter what.
That's
what you hope.
That's what I hope. And I say that because I'm not in that position. But if I'm ever in that position, I hope I would do that.
You hope. Fine. Now, mind you, there's only 4 positions, 10 slots to interview. Now, mind you, the only time we got to worry about is the interview itself.
Right.
So make sure, am I right about how the Rooney Rule works?
Yes, you only have to bring them in for an interview.
You only have to bring them for an interview.
But if you hire, you get an extra incentive of draft picks and stuff like that. Yeah.
Right. Basically the Rooney Rule. So anyway, now when that in itself, it's like I said, a very interesting time, especially the latest news on the Rooney Rule, and then and at the same time, affirmative action. It's kind of funny how everything kind of starting to come about around this time. Crazy that it's February, Black History Month.
Always remember, everything's by design.
True. Now, so what's some attack first? The Rooney Rule. I think at this point, it's been made a mockery of, and my point being said is, how we gone some time ago having to 9 Black coaches to now you down to just 1 Black coach in the NFL. That's just in the NFL alone. In the NFL. Now, mind you, during these last few years, Black coaches have been candidates to the hire, to interview for the job. Interview for the job.
Yeah, of course. They're always there. They interview. They
like for instance, like when before Doug Peterson got hired, the Eagles did an interview Deuce Staley.
I remember that.
Deuce Staley. Doug Peterson got the job.
Mm-hmm.
Now when they came time to do new coach, when he got fired, they interviewed Deuce Staley, running backs coach. I remember that. I was like, well, damn, how many times can they interview for the same job? It was crazy, but basically what he said, they checked the box. Mm-hmm. They checked the box, and it's more or less like you said, you get an incentive for just an interview. Not to hire, just to interview. Just to interview, my Sean. So, my Sean, the government is going to give you X amount of dollars for doing 10 interviews. And out of them 10 interviews, you got to meet those criteria. Just the interviews alone. Not the hire. But eventually, you still got to hire them categories to make sure we get the tax breaks with that. So either way, you won't have to cover down on them slot positions.
I wouldn't waste my time.
You wouldn't waste your time.
That's. I won't waste my time.
You wouldn't waste your time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As the person doing the hiring or the people going for the job?
Both.
Okay.
Why waste your time if I wonder what side Brian Flores was on when Colin Kaepernick was taking the knee. Was he a supporter of Kaepernick or was he against
That's a good
Kaepernick?
question. So
that's actually
maybe you should reach out to him and ask him.
I actually want to ask that question.
You should. Maybe you should put it
because it's been a lot of people who now all of a sudden are like, oh my God, him suing the NFL is great, that were against Kaepernick. Now, mind you, people don't know this. Kaepernick won his case against the NFL. He proved collusion.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Okay.
We know they don't want to hire you as a coach.
Right.
We understand that.
Wait a minute. Did he say he had to hire him? He had to interview. Keywords. Interview.
So here's the $1 million question. Do we really want change? I'm gonna tell you why. And this is a question I ask because this is what sacrifice comes in at.
Okay.
If you want change, who's willing to sacrifice their paycheck for change? See, Martin Luther King sacrificed a paycheck for change. Malcolm X sacrificed a paycheck for change. People who really about change sacrifice their family for change. Let's not get it confused. We think, oh, yeah, we could talk all we want to talk about Martin Luther King may have been banging 20 people, but he sacrificed his family for change. So when you think about when change happens, a sort of sacrifice. Gandhi, when he wanted change, sacrifice food for change. So are we willing to make that change? Is everybody who plays sports willing to not play that sport until change happens?
No.
Then what are we talking about?
Good question.
If the league is majority black.
That's about to be my next question. I wasn't gonna take it that far. I was gonna say, what if this is in my mind. The coach for the Steelers, the only black coach, decides to do a protest. That wouldn't be enough for you?
No. I wouldn't want, first off, I wouldn't want to ask him because he's already
No. Ain't nobody ask him. He just voluntarily decides.
No, I'll tell him no. I will actually tell him no. And I'll say it's not your place or your position to do it. Who position and place to do it is those players that suit up for that white coach who thinks that they want a black coach, but you suit up every weekend for that white coach. So you're telling me that you pro-black over here, but you know where your bread is buttered. So you're going to make sure you keep this good. So until you change, what are we talking about?
Tom Brady retiring.
Yeah, okay, we can talk about that.
No. But yeah, I think it's a horrible rule. Now it's become more of a like I said, a mockery.
No, you're right about that.
Truly, my opinion, if you're just gonna check the box just to say not to finally be qualified, so like my man said, he got a text from his former coach saying congratulations. That's fucked up.
If that was into the wrong person.
Wrong person. Oh, wrong Brian.
Yeah.
Yo,
that right there lets you know, and so we'll go ahead and slide down. You can't tell people who to hire.
No.
And I get that. However, you have to hire the best person for the job. And I know a lot of people are like, well, maybe they're not the best candidates. Well, let's really look at this. So if I look at Doug Peterson was not the best candidate. No, and people be like, well, he won a Super Bowl. That team would have won the Super Bowl with or without him.
Right.
So that doesn't mean he was the best candidate. What that mean was you liked him.
Right.
You can't tell me that the best candidate if you're not willing to get it. If people be like, well, how you know that's true? Because when white people were winning championships on all these all white teams playing against another all white team, at some point they realized that they wasn't the best, which is why they integrated, because they started realizing that even their fans were going over here to see what black sports look like. So let's keep that in perspective.
Yeah. How was that skit inside our life years ago? Yeah, it just wasn't that good. It was, so why did you why did you go after the black players? Because they were good. What's wrong with them? They just wasn't that good.
Exactly.
And Vlade Divac was like, well, yeah, why did you come? Well, I was hoping to come back to the all-white league. Well, yeah, because I know I dominate because it just wasn't that good. I was hoping to dominate.
Exactly. So if we really won't change, and this, I'm not just saying with this. I'm not just saying with the athletes because it's a two-part system.
Right.
The athletes are the main one, but we as a community are the second. Because if we're one of the highest consuming people in America, means that we have to hold our dollars. So are we willing to hold our dollars? Remember, Kaepernick.
So you think we all should be Pittsburgh fans? What you trying to say?
You know what? Right now, I would tell you right now that wouldn't be a bad idea. everybody become Pittsburgh, like
Pittsburgh
Pittsburgh.
Steelers fans.
They become the blackout. It's so black in
Okay.
that stadium,
I got you.
so black. They got the number
I
one
got you.
rated games and everything, and maybe that would change because we know what changes.
Okay.
Sacrifice changes.
Right.
So if the athletes are not willing to sacrifice a paycheck for what they claim they believe in, because remember now, they're upset. Well, we're upset. Well, if you're upset, then don't play.
True.
But somebody else is gonna play, but you don't play.
Yeah.
The courage. What Skip Bayless say? The courage of your convictions should keep you from playing. Right now, everybody, the Super Bowl should be canceled. Every black player should not play right now. I guarantee you on the biggest stage and you say, I'm not playing because of what y'all doing.
The Rams might win because all he's going to throw to is the cup anyway. So, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
yeah, he got cup. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, cup. Yeah.
So,
Cup going to have over 1,000 yards.
100 catches.
But if every black player stood up right now and said, you know what? I refuse to play because I do not agree with what's going on. I guarantee you start seeing change because now the NFL is that they're getting sued. That's one thing. But when you have your players actually saying, I quit.
Right.
You know what? I would rather work a 9 to 5 than to continue being part of a system that continuously alienate us.
Good point. Very good point, my friend. No, very good point. Now, yeah, I like that. So players should quit. Everybody should become, the fans should become Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
Yeah.
The black coach.
I mean, if you want to watch football, it'd be like,
Pittsburgh Steelers fans.
Yeah, either that or we just don't watch football.
Right.
But see, it goes back to the Kaepernick situation, and it's eerie how similar they are. And you know what's funny? America is right on time. Every couple of years, we have to have a black event to galvanize us.
Right.
So
what's the black event this time?
This lawsuit.
Lawsuit? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the Kaepernick situation, all he did was take a knee. Nobody knew what he was doing till they started investigating everything. So he started bringing light to it. Oh, all of a sudden, no, there's no issues in America. No, you know what we're going to do for black people? We're going to put justice on the back of people's helmets because that's going to help. They still, guess what? The money that was supposed to be allocated for the communities, who's seen that money? Now, mind you, what they have done was a smear campaign against Kaepernick. I know people are like, you're a big Kaepernick fan, and I am, but I like to be real. So they did a smear campaigns like Kaepernick, see all these black people, Ray Lewis, Jim Brown, oh, something wrong with Kaepernick, you know what I'm saying? Because, they're pro football league, so, they got to stay. But the truth of the matter is Kaepernick been putting up his own money. Kaepernick actually been doing what he said he was going to do. He's been doing the grassroots stuff. See, that's the problem. See, when he said, if you're not going to help me, I'm going to be doing it. So he's out there doing it. He's putting in the work. You talking about someone that don't want people to know what he's doing? He won't even do interviews, which screws up his money also at the same time. So he's been losing deals at the same time as doing the work. And if I was in his ear, I'd be like, look, you got to be the face because they want you. Unfortunately, that you're the lightning rod. True. But even in that, you have black people going against black people.
Right.
What's going to happen now? Colin Kaepernick already told you collusion existed. Colin Kaepernick already shows you by not being in the league. You tell me that out of 32 teams, all 32 teams have the best quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay.
Including the 49ers.
Hey, Jimmy G, I ride with you.
Porn stars alone.
Maybe he needed more.
Okay. Okay.
Go to Miami. They all in Miami. But Colin Kaepernick already proved that. He proved all of this 5 years ago.
Right.
So what are we talking about?
Well, now that's the player against the player. Now it's actual coach.
But it involved everything because what he was saying was it was injustice. Right. He was letting you know that. He told you that these teams are conspiring against. You've seen how they conspired against Kaepernick. What did they do? Why don't you come try out? Give you some bull crap. Now, why I got to try out? Nobody else get to try out. Like they pull white people off the couch. True story. They were pulling white people off the couch. Matter of fact, the reason why this is so important for him, as far as Brian Flores, to sue the league, which it's not going to do nothing for him when his career. His career's done. He's done. Like, he's not going to get a job ever. But their teams were interviewing a quarterback who was just a backup quarterback his whole life, who was just who was just working high school football,
right?
And they were interviewing him for a head coach position,
right?
High school football,
right?
You got coordinators that you wasn't even looking at, but you found that this high school
is a good coach. He's a good coach, man.
So he's better than
his team is like 600-0.
And they gotta be, and that's what Josh McDaniels got a job, and he bombed out everywhere he went.
True.
But he got a job. So the question is, are we really going to do this? And what I mean by that is Aaron Donald going to get up there and say, I'm not playing. Odell Beckham Jr. going to get up there and say, I'm not playing. Jalen Ramsey say, I'm not playing. All these people are going to say, I'm not playing. Or are they going to say, no, well, we support, and, we're going to wear this stuff because it's more important to win that ring and to make that money than it is to stand for something. Remember, sacrifice is how you win.
Okay.
Even when we take a hill,
I got you.
What they say when you take a hill, they say, we know we're going to lose people,
right?
But it's trying to lessen the blow to our force.
Right.
We know if we go down this road, we'll lose people, but the overall success of the mission is what we're aiming for. So if we're not willing to make that sacrifice, and that's why I say it's not just them, they're a big part. Like, they're the main attraction in this.
Right.
But if we hold our dollars,
okay.
If we really held our dollars from watching the game, think about it like this, because it's trickle-down effect. People don't realize this trickle-down effect. If I'm holding my dollars from watching the game, let's say out of 100 people, 50 of them actually go to bars to watch games. Right. So if they're holding their money, they're not going to those bars.
Right.
That's already hurting the economy.
Right.
The other 50 may have cookouts and stuff, or add extra food and stuff. So if they're not doing that, they're holding their money, then that's money they're saving.
Okay.
So it affects the world economy because we call it the big game. We do things for the big game. So not only is it, I'm not just buying your merchandise, I'm not watching you on TV, but I'm not even contributing to what helps you. I'm not buying the beer. I'm not at the bars. I'm not at the stadiums. I'm not wasting the gas. I'm not doing it. It goes deep. I mean, that's very
good point. Very valid point. Okay. That's a good point, man.
But until then, man, I'm glad he is suing them, and he's gonna get some money out of it because his career's over with.
But I think in addition to, like you said, the Colin Kaepernick thing, I think it kind of reinforces what he was saying. I know what you're saying about the whole collusion's proven, but a lot of times you need
that's right.
And
confirmation.
Yeah, confirmation.
I agree with you.
And that's how I look at it. Because I agree when she said that. I was like, oh, word. But yeah, did my man already prove that? But yeah, it's more of a confirmation. This time at a coach's point of view.
No, you're right. Because one of the things they said is, how did Bill Belichick know?
Right.
When he wasn't supposed to be nowhere in the hiring process.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what I would have done? Well, I'd call Bill. We had a nice little conversation. Word up. Oh, Bill, what's up, Bill? Oh,
that's what Tom Brady hates. He ain't say nothing about you. He didn't even acknowledge you when he retired.
That's probably why anyway. That's right, racist.
But on the flip side of it, and if I have to do this as a realist, if Matthew Stafford stood up and said he's not playing, if Joe Burrow say he's not playing,
that'd say a lot. That would say a whole lot.
Aaron Rodgers say, then the league would change overnight.
Oh man, that would say a whole lot.
So
same thing go for the Pro Bowl,
right? So it's not just the black players,
right?
I mean, it has to be the ones who really impact the game. If they say no on both sides, that's when change comes. Until then, nothing's going to change because they'll replace black players because they'll always find black players.
Somebody's going to want to play either way.
And for sure too. So I get that part. But if you say, okay, Matthew Stafford's not playing in the Super Bowl,
Right.
you ain't these people who pay that money ain't trying to see whoever the backup is. They don't even know who the back. They ain't trying to see that backup person. They already returned them tickets.
They're gonna call Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Giants.
They ain't trying to see
come
nothing.
those football.
I'm telling you, if they start backing out of that, so the black players will be like, okay, we can probably do this. But if Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow back out,
Yeah, it's a great impact. Understand? Okay.
then it's that number one question we have always asked: how much skin do they want in this game? Because Joe Burrow could look cool with us, smoke cigars with us, but if you really about us and you care, and you say I'm your brother, then you would hate to see me in a certain light. You would hate for this to be happening to me. So how much skin are you willing to put in the game? How much skin are you willing to lay on the line? How much you willing to sacrifice?
Okay, cool, man. So, I like that. So now we can kind of transition on to how this transitions into the talk once again that's come up about affirmative action. Now, for those who don't understand, can you give a general idea of exactly what affirmative action is?
So the purpose of affirmative action was to give minorities an opportunity in not 7-Eleven.
Right.
They actually Fortune 500 companies.
Right.
It was designed to say, hey, we see that you have questionable hiring practices, so we're going to put this in place to guarantee that you at least hire a percentage of African Americans in your company.
Right.
I don't know if it's incentivized, it might be, but I know that was the goal of it.
Right. I think in some sense it is, but yeah.
What was supposed to happen is that you were supposed to look at a pool of people and say, okay, I may not have found the most qualified white person, but I have a qualified black person.
Right.
And that's how it was supposed to be. Like there's the qualification. It wasn't supposed to be.
Could tell them at one point, regardless if you were more qualified as that black person, you wasn't going to get looked at.
Right. And that was the issue.
Yeah.
And so that's what they, black people were seeing, I can have 2 degrees and they'll still say it's not enough. Like as they say in football, the goalposts kept getting moved. So they came up with affirmative action to help mitigate that, to say we have to come into common ground.
Right.
Does it work?
It do. In the beginning, I think it works. At this point, I think it does and it don't. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I can't answer that because it's hard.
Because, like I said, it's that slope of you saying you hit. Because now it's like, you know what? We don't have any. I'll just take him anyway. Type deal. Not whether, mind you, I might not look at your resume. Mind you, it might be head nuclear scientist.
Right.
And he sounded to be a janitor. He sounded to be a janitor. No other black person. I say, hey, I got a better job that pays more. So, hey, you mind getting paid a little extra? Sure. What am I doing? Well, you be a scientist. What do you want me to do? You just mix some shit together in the laboratory. Be safe about it now. We'll be other scientists there to help you to look over, make sure you don't blow some shit up. But we'll pay you to be that, be a scientist. Get paid X amount of dollars, whatever. That's all we need you to do. Matter of fact, don't even worry about mixing anything. We just need you here. Just sit at the table. Do a diary or something.
It's funny you say that, and that's I guess that's the $1 million question. Right. Are we producing the quality in which to match that?
No, and yes and no. In some instances we are, but in others, a lot of times we're not. Because, like I said, you go back, you hire that janitor to be your scientist,
right?
Just say, hey, you have a black scientist working in your laboratory.
No, right, yeah.
Or you know what? You'll be the chemist, and all you doing, hey, just mix these files, I say files, mix these vials up, and all it is just salt water and
you cure cancer.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like he doing something. It's all I need you to do every day from this time to this time. Mix this into this, into that. When it fills here, pour it into that over there, and start all over again. It could, like I said, just
filling the void.
Filling the void, yes.
That's you. That does happen, and
Right.
unfortunately, that's the downside of it. Or what does happen is if you hire somebody and they're on a tightrope, so
Right.
if they make a mistake, you fire them, then you ain't got to worry about hiring another black person,
Right.
because you can say, "Well, I did, and look what happened."
Yeah, so exactly. So my thing is, do you think that's the issue that a lot of people have with affirmative action nowadays? A lot of times that's the case. Like you said, they hire them knowing they're not qualified, or put them in a position to where they're not going to succeed, or the people that know that the person hired is not qualified to do it in no shape, form, fashion, but he's filling the void. Do you think it's one of more the other, or kind of both, or it's just like
I go with both, but I would lean more towards. I will say that I do think that we're not giving the grace period that a lot of other people are giving.
I understand. Like I said, grace period is fine, but I'm saying other people, not us as the people say benefiting, but the people on the outside looking in.
Oh yeah, they
down
don't.
on
Oh
it.
yeah, they don't think we're qualified. They think
Yeah,
they
I
think every
understand
black
that.
hire is affirmative action. Like
Right.
you wouldn't be here like
Right.
if it wasn't for affirmative action.
Right.
So they're more willing to scrutinize everything you do.
Right. Okay.
See that a
So-
lot. Now that
Right.
happens a lot.
Right. Right. It's crazy, isn't it?
If you have a black manager, and if you pay attention, any other race under a black manager barely shows that black manager respect.
Mm.
And that black manager is always being scrutinized by other managers.
I can see that. I can see that.
You could be in a situation where you can get a job, you're more qualified for the position. You should have been in the position, but they pick someone else because they like them. And when that person doesn't work out, who do they bring in to help ease?
Right.
Is a black person.
Okay.
They'll never give the black person position, but there'll be always a transition person.
I got you. Okay. So, so what do you think it should be? Okay, first of all, do you think they should do it with affirmative action?
No.
Okay.
Because if you get away, if you take down that fence, it'll be the Wild West. And we're not in position to be in the Wild West.
Okay. So how do you think we fix it? How do you think I have an idea of what we could do. So my solution is you create a database. Now, in this database, it's sort of like you create a code in a sense. Now, your code is not going to be based on creed, color, religion, sexuality. All right. The code is going to be based on your qualifications. So basically your education, your criminal background. Now, mind you, like I said, it's a code because it's not going to necessarily identify. You're not going to have a name. You're only. It's not going to be your name's not going to be. Your code's going to identify you, but it's going to identify you in accordance to your qualifications in a sense. They see education, experience, your background, and your potential. Because there's a way you can measure potential. I forgot how you measure potential, like a test you can take for potential and success in certain jobs, and as well. And you like I said, and that score on that test determines whatever code you get based on that. You throw it in a database. So when it comes time to apply, you hit that person with a code. This is my code, and like I said, you apply it.
Right.
Now, how the code's gonna pull names or whatever is gonna pull it some way high. I haven't figured that part out yet. It's just a random thing I'm saying. And like you said, you do. Now, when it comes time to do the interview process, now you could do it in person, but I wouldn't do it in person. You could do it over the phone, which would be an idea. But like I said, it's always, I'm still trying to work my system out because it's going to be big in the next year or two. It's going to be called the William Coleman system. It's
I
gonna
like
be
that.
off. It's gonna be the shit.
So
Don't be stealing my idea too. So
So I experienced, and I'll say it like this: I experienced, on two separate occasions, probably multiple, but two separate notable situations that made me realize color is more of a factor than anything else,
of course,
or likability.
right.
And only likability is like, it's weird to me. So I was going for a night supervisor at UNCW in my department. It was me and this other guy.
All right.
On paper, he had some strong areas and I had some strong areas in different areas. So I got that part. And we took the test and everything. He got the job. How he got the job was the crazy part. So the woman came, the supervisor at the time, she came to me and she said, we just don't feel like you're ready, XYZ. And that's what was said to me. And I said, okay, cool. So me and the guy happened to be riding, and I guess he felt some tension between us. And he said, are you mad that I got the position? I said, no. He said, do you think you're more qualified than me? I said, it's not that I thought I was more qualified than you. I said, I didn't get a chance to. I said, that's the difference. I said, I didn't get a chance to. He was like, what do you mean? I said, even me going through this process was just still tickling my fancy.
Right.
They were
something you just had to do.
Yeah.
They were checking the box.
Yeah. They were giving you the job.
Right.
And he was like, well, I know me and her friends on the outside and things like that. You know your privilege.
Right.
So in essence, you just having this conversation with me just make yourself feel better.
Okay.
And that's one thing I say, we have to understand. On the flip side, at another job, I ain't gonna say no names, had the same situation happen. I was good enough to run your area. I was good enough to train the people in your area. But when it came time, you tell me you don't feel like I'm ready, but I trained the people who you put in position,
right,
and even wiped their butt when they were messing up.
Right.
So once again, either you don't want us in the position. And I have learned that if you're at a company that has more than 2 or 3 Black people in certain positions, you need to leave that company because you will never grow.
Right.
Because they met their quota.
True.
And that's unfortunate. You will never grow no matter what you do because they have already met their quota. And the only thing you can do is replace one of those Black people.
Which probably won't happen anytime soon. Okay, so you ready to wrap this up, man?
Yeah, we can wrap it up, man.
All right. 2 straight hours of fun,
Instagram, and guess what? The name's changed on Instagram. So Instagram.
It's Vintage Sight and Sound.
Vintage Sight and Sound. On Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We got Snippety Chat. SoundCloud will be at the end of this month. In person. toexposeyou.com. Check out our other show that we will be posting pretty soon. 2 Cups and a White Person. Now I'm just playing.
Oh, there you go. 2 Cups and White Person.
We please feel free to check us out. Have any questions and concerns you want to talk with us? You want to, have some questions for us?
Show.
Yeah, please feel free. We anything we say, we don't mind saying it in person. If you disagree with anything, we can always have a talk about it. I know y'all think sometimes we go to the extreme, but always remember this: there's always sides that we may talk about, even if we don't believe in it. Because at the end of the day, it's more important to have all the information than to just stick to your guns. Because when you stick to your guns, then you don't learn nothing.
Right.
You got anything?
No, man, you good, man.
Check us out. Y'all may get another show this week on Friday.